Hey, YouTube! I never go live, but Odin and me decided that the news today was so big that I really just had to get a video out, get the information to you, and offer you the opportunity to ask me questions live. So if you have any questions or comments about the student loan forgiveness news, please put them in the chat. If you're cranky about other people getting student loan forgiveness, you can keep that to yourself, because this is good vibes only. Now I'm going to put Odin down. Let's talk about the federal student loan forgiveness news that happened today, Wednesday, August 24th. Again, I never do lives on this platform, so this is mostly unscripted, it's unedited, and hopefully it'll go well. Basically, what happened? And the president announced that $10,000 in student loan debt relief will be given to anybody who has student loans and is making less than $125,000 a year, or $250,000 a year for married couples. If, however, you had Pell Grants when you're in college, and only people who show great economic need can get Pell Grants, you are eligible for $20,000 in student debt relief. Yay! Again, with those income stipulations that you have to make $125,000 or less, or if you're married filing jointly, that you make $250,000 or less. Okay. Now, they say up to $10,000 or $20,000 because, like, if you owe $6,000 left on your student loans, they're not going to hand you a check for 10 grand. That would be awesome, but really, I mean, do you really think they're going to? No. What they're going to do is they're going to pay off your remaining balance of $6,000, which is so great. I am a person, I paid off my student loans entirely by myself, no federal aid, except for getting the loans to begin with. And am I annoyed that other people get all this money taken off their student loans? Nope. I think it's fantastic for them. I wish my loans, I wish that had happened for me, but it's cool. My loans are done. I'm past it. The cancellation now only applies to federal student loans. So if you consolidated with a private company, then you don't have federal loans anymore. You have private loans. You can find out whether or not you have federal or private loans on studentaid.gov. You can go into your account there and it'll tell you whether or not you have federal or private loans. This is not to be confused with your student loan servicer. Your student loan servicer is a company like Nelnet or Aidvantage or Great Lakes, who actually do like the day-to-day stuff of managing your student loans. You can still have federal student loans that are managed by a student loan servicer. So that's why it's really important to check on studentaid.gov to find out if you have federal or private loans. If you're here live and have questions or comments, please pop them in the chat. Now, what's more is that they're going to offer an income-based repayment option that's only 5% of your discretionary income, rather than the current 10%. And after 10 years of repayments, once the loan gets below $12,000, it's forgiven. Pretty cool. If your payment is less than the amount of interest you owe that month, the government will pay your interest so that your loan principal doesn't increase should your income be low enough that the 5% doesn't cover your interest. This will be huge for so many people who are really having a tough go of it with their student loans. If you are having a hard time paying your student loans every month, do look into income-based repayment plans. I have a whole video on the best ones, the worst ones, what you should do, the ins and outs of them, in my student loan playlist. Okay. Let's see here. If you are going for public service loan forgiveness, which I've got a ton of videos in my student loan video list about public service loan forgiveness. Let's talk about that for a sec. It's a program where people who work for the government or for nonprofits get the entire balance of their direct loans forgiven if you work full-time for a nonprofit or government organization after 120 months in repayment. So there is currently a waiver because there was a lot of issues with the way it was being run before, because so many people had like FFEL loans or they missed a payment once and that completely reset their clock. So if you haven't applied for public service loan forgiveness and you work full-time for a nonprofit or a government organization, please be sure to get your application in before October 31st, 2022. I've got a ton of videos on public service loan forgiveness in my student loan video list there. And apply even if you don't have the 120 months yet, because you want to make sure that all of your payments can apply to public service loan forgiveness. That way you can get much closer to loan forgiveness. Now, all of this is great for the majority of borrowers, but what you may not be aware of is how incredible this is for people of color who are disproportionately weighed down by student loan debt. This move will help reduce the racial wealth gap in our society. Okay, how is that? As people of color have disproportionately less wealth than white people, and this is for many reasons that literally books have been written about, let's suffice it to say, systemic racism hits people in their pocketbook super hard, generation after generation. They become dependent more on grants and loans in order to get a college degree. So, for example, in the year 2015-16, 72% of Black students took out Pell Grants, whereas only 36% of Asian students and 34% of white students took out Pell Grants. That's from NCES. If I'm reading that data right, this means something like 72% of Black students are eligible for twice as much student aid relief. They're eligible for up to $20,000. This is going to have gigantic effects across their entire financial life. Not only are they going to have less debt, so there's just like fewer bills to pay, but it's going to reduce their debt to income ratio. And I know I'm using like kind of fancier terms. Don't worry about it. Debt to income ratio just means how much debt do you have versus how much income do you have. By doing this, it will increase people's credit scores. And when you have a better credit score, that means you get better rates with your credit cards. You get better rates when you go to buy a car, go to buy a house, go to do anything that requires people loaning you money. And thus, they're going to pay way less in interest. Like, the effects kind of ripple out, and it's fantastic. The student loan cancellation really does target low and middle income students. Nearly 90% of the relief will go to people earning less than $75,000. So that is the longs and shorts of the most recent student loan debt relief program that is put out by the president. I hope this helped. Please put questions or comments in the comment area. If you want a cheat sheet on all the different ways or all the different federal student loan forgiveness programs, I actually made a cheat sheet for you that goes over 13 different federal student loan forgiveness programs. I will put a link in the comments here. Maybe, there we go. I'll put a link in the, actually, you know what? I'll put a link in the description. That'll make it easy. Check out the link in the description to get that cheat sheet. All right. Enjoy. Cheers. Bye, guys.